For the honor of Moulana wa Sayyidina Rasulullah, as you know, today is also the day of Mab'ath, Bi'athat al-Rasul. Recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. The second salawat for the honor of Moulana wa Sayyidina Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إلهنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا العبد المؤيد والرسول المصدد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين روحي وأرواحنا وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. قال الله الحكيم في القرآن الكريم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون صدق الله العلي العظيم. The 25th of the holy month of Rajab is the anniversary of the day of Shahadat of our 7th Imam, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, which is titled, which we also recognize him by his title, which is Al-Kazim, the one who is in charge of his anger, who swallows his anger. And the reason he was named with this title is because of his character and because of his manners with specifically those who disagree with him or those who were considered to be his enemies. One of the Imams that we see in his lifetime, that oppression was very evident in his life. When we look at the life of Imam Baqir alayhi salam and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, these two Imams were living in the time which was a transition of Bani Umayyah to Bani Abbas, one dynasty to another. And the new dynasty was not established very well, so two of our Imams who had the opportunity to establish a university of Islamic teaching, specifically with the supervision of Ahlul Bayt, and they were able to teach many and train many students who today we have many of these traditions by these two specific Imam. Majority of our ahadith and tradition are by Imam Baqir alayhi salam and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. But when it comes to our 7th Imam, we see again that this dynasty, which they started with claiming that they are here to revenge Ahlul Bayt's oppression. They were the Bani Abbas, they said we are cousins with the Bani Hashim, we're cousins of the Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and we're here to revenge Bani Umayyah. We are here to teach them a lesson and give the right position and the worthy position of leadership to Ahlul Bayt. But the moment they got that power, we saw that one of these very powerful forces which corrupt human being is power. It's one of those forces that when you feel the taste, it's very hard to quit. It's one of those addictions that people are ready to do anything possible to get and grab a few more years or a few more days or months of power. So we see when it comes to Imam Al-Kazim alayhi salam, Bani Abbas, what they did, they imprisoned Imam Al-Kazim alayhi salam for some fabricated and fake excuses that Imam alayhi salam had some plans against them. So according to history, Imam was in prison for 7 years, another tradition said 14 years, another report says 19 years. Because of that, imprisonment was a very common practice of Bani Abbas at the time. We see that there's a big gap between these reports. One is 7 years, one is 14 years. Because imprisoning people was not such a shocking thing that people keep a record of that. It was very common, was very normal, unfortunately, at the time. But one lesson from this point of history, which is important that we have to learn, is that there are people who start with the claim of haqq and truth. There are people who say that we're going to do something nice. We are going to do something in the name of God, in the name of charity, in the name of humanitarian support and help. But what happens later on, that human beings' intention goes through changes. And that's what makes human being a very complicated and sophisticated creature. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tin said, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ التَّقْوِيمِ. When we look at the creation of human being, Allah said we created this human in the best of form and shapes, in the best manners. That everything works in details, everything is in the right place with the human's anatomy. When we look at Pasteur, one of the scientists who basically, he is one of those who being known as the one who discovered the existence of microbes and in the existence of viruses and all that. He said after discovering that I was able to find more reason to increase my faith in God after my discovery. So someone asked him, why is that your discovery is helping your faith? He said, because before that I was looking at the universe and I saw there is an order. There is a precise movement of everything. There is exact plan for everything. But when I discovered these tiny particles, when I see these very small organisms, that they also have a plan, they also have a reason of existence, and there is a purpose for them, I truly came to this understanding that all this plan, all this order could not be without a specific wise designer behind it. So that helped me to understand that nothing could work by accident that simply. So it is important to know that this very sophisticated creature, which we are, alhamdulillah, human being, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah said, ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. This very important and special creature, then we lowered him and we downgraded him at the bottom, at the very, very, very last bottom level that you could find. أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. But not all creatures could be like this. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Except those who have faith and except those who do good deeds and do righteous in actions. Every other creature, every other human being, they have a downgrade process in their lifetime. We see a human being who's capable of doing such monstrous actions in the name of God, in the name of different reasons behind it. When you look at ISIS, we see what they do. When you look at those monks in Myanmar, what they do. When we look at the Christians who attack another Christian church because they're black, we see that this very simple creature, human being, is capable of causing very, very great damages. Because Allah said that this very unique creature could become very lowless, valueless, become very worthless, except with iman, faith, and except with deeds. What is iman? Iman is the intention. Iman is the plan of why and what is the reason that you do certain things. Iman helps you to find a direction. That's what iman is supposed to be. Iman gives you purpose of life, that why I'm here and what's the plan and what's the purpose of life. Then Amal al-Salihat is the part that you actualize your intentions. Doesn't matter how beautiful your faith is, how strong your faith is, if there is no action combined with the plan, there is no point. The most beautiful theories, if they're not to be proven, part of reality, they could not be very beneficial at all. So it is important to have them both. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam said, recite the salawat. Mal'oonun, mal'oonun. Twice Imam said, these people are away from Allah's mercy. These people are mal'oon. Who is mal'oon according to Imam Baqir? Man qala al-iman qawlun bila amal. The one who preached this, the one who says iman and faith is only words and no action. Anyone who implements this idea in people's mind, according to our fifth Imam, is someone who's away from Allah's mercy and is mal'oon, is under curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he implemented a wrong ideology, which words are the only thing that we can define iman with, which is precisely and only merely, it's false. that Iman and Amal Salih, faith and action, are two inseparable part of the equation. One without another doesn't make sense. If you do good things but there's not a sincere intention behind it, there's no value for that. If there's a good sincere intention there but there is no action, again, there's no value for that. It's a bird that you require both of wings to be able to fly. And taqarrub ila Allah, becoming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, becoming closer to Allah means reaching a next step of perfection. Which again, that's by the way, is one of those common beliefs of every human being. If you ask every human being, what do you want? No matter, again, regardless of their faith and ideology, regardless of their socioeconomical status, they will tell you, what I want is to be better. Perfection. You know, I want to be a better athlete, I want to be a better scientist, I want to be a wealthier human being, I want to be better at whatever I am. And why is that? Because that's part of our existence. We were created that way. We have a thirst and appetite of perfection. We want to be better. But the problem is that the way we look for that, the way we want to earn that is sometimes being confused. Some people steal to be better, to be wealthier. Some people cheat to seem smarter. There are different ways that people try to fabricate perfection. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you want perfection, you only can get it from the source of perfection. That's the only one who can tell you and give you. And in prayers 10 times a day we say that. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Only and only you. You are the only one that I worship. No one else is worthy of my worship and my obedience. وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And you are the only one that I seek assistance and support from. Because you are the source of perfection. Anything else is a mirage. Anything else is just a weaker source of perfection that you honor them and bless them with. Even the source of with the source of Islam, the seal of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. With that all greatness, that Allah said, لَوْلَاكَ لَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْأَفْلَاكِ. If it wasn't because of you, I would never create a universe. Your existence, your soul and existence is one of the reasons I created universe. That you be in that universe. But even this Prophet, with this greatness, when we pray, in tashahhud, what we say? Alhamdulillah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. That this great messenger of Allah, I testify, I bear witness that you're the messenger of God. But before saying he's a Rasul, we say عَبْدُهُ. You are his servant. That the position of being Abdullah, the servant of Allah, is greater than being the messenger of Allah. Look at the order. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu. Abd comes first. That's the first title. That you are Allah's servant, and then wa rasuluh. You're Allah's messenger. That this position of being Allah's servant is so great, but people take it lightly. They don't give it the value that it deserves. Because with being Allah's servant, that we can become a master. With being Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's servant, that we can reach perfection. And Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam is a man that being recognized among people by that. A man that is not only well known among his companion, but also his enemies confess about his greatness. When it comes to just in 13th of the month of Rajab, you probably heard in the lecture and the speech that Ali ibn Abi Talib was one of those characters that enemies and friends confess about his greatness. But it's not about Imam Ali alayhi salam. All of the Ahlul Bayt, from the first Imam till the last one, you will see that even those who did not believe in them as Imams, those who even plan to kill them, poison them, those who have a lot of ill intention toward them, they confess that the reason they do that is not because they're bad people. They're evil people. The reason they do that is because they cannot see the greatness that they have, because they're jealous. Because they feel a threat when they saw the existence of them next to them. Khatib al-Baghdadi is a writer, is a Sunni writer. Tarikh al-Baghdad is a history of Baghdad. And again, it's about the different areas in Baghdad. He basically tried as a historian to report and mention what exactly is the demographic of a city. Then when it comes to the, as you know, Kazimain, which is the burial ground of Imam Kazim alayhi salam, is in Baghdad. So when it comes to that, it said, when it comes to Musa ibn Ja'far, he is a man that he called, a Sunni man, a historian, said, Kana sakhiyan karima. Again, this is not a follower of the school of al-Bayt, and it's not a book about Imam Kazim, it's a book of history, and he's a Sunni historian. So when it comes to this man, he's a man which is famous, and he was famous for generosity and for his perfection. And even when I have problem, I will go to his graveyard, because I've heard that people call him Bab al-Hawa'ij, the door of people's need, a connection, an intercessor between people and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he is the door. If you want to get answer from Allah, you have to go through this door. And I went to his grave and I got answer, and I have a personal experience on that matter. Harun al-Rashid is a killer of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. La'natullah alayhi. He ordered and commanded a prison guard to poison Imam Musa ibn Ja'far. But we have that one day he had a stomachache that none of the doctors at the time were not able to help him. So he asked for Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, and because he knew that Imam alayhi salam, again, even the enemy, even the killer know the position of Musa ibn Ja'far, which is again a very scary point, that sometimes knowing is not enough to save us. Sometimes knowing enough is not enough to save us. That we know this is right, so we think, if we know it's right, we will do it. And that's something even about our kids, we do that. Say, oh, you know, our kids must know about what is good. If they know, they will do it. That's not right. That's not true. Many people, they know what's right and what's wrong, but still they choose the wrong. And I come to that and assure that what is the reason? Hawa. Our desires taking over our wisdom and our reasoning. If you, those who are smoking, again, all due respect, no offense to those who smoke. If you ask them, do you know how dangerous and how harmful this piece of, for example, cigarette is for you? I doubt that majority of them will say no. Majority will say yes. I've seen the photo on the packet, I've seen this, I've seen that. I know about it. And you say, okay, if you know how dangerous and how harmful this is, and you see people who have cancer, they're fighting for this life that you're shortening it. They accept to go under chemotherapy, to have poisons, to reject tumor cancer cells, to live a little bit longer. They're fighting over there for that life. What's wrong with you that you know how dangerous this thing is and how harmful this is, but you still go through it? They said, oh, it's not in my control, you know. I started, it's too hard to quit. So knowing it's not enough. Iman is not knowing. Iman is the knowing that help you to act. That's Iman. If you only know, that's if you say based on knowing, Harun al-Rashid knew about the position of Musa ibn Ja'far. So he asked for him to come, and he begged Imam Musa ibn Ja'far to pray for him. That the doctors were not, you know, they were not able to help me. So this is a dua of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. This is the enemy who imprisoned people, who tortured and killed innocent people. So Imam is not to just let him go easily. So Imam prayed this way, said, Ya Allah, show your greatness and show our position, Ahlul Bayt's position, in his eyes with a little bit, with a very momentarily cure. The moment Imam alayhi salam prayed in front of the supporter of Harun al-Rashid, the stomachache was stopped for momentarily, and again it came back. that even Imam alayhi salam pray for his enemy if there is a lesson for them to be learned. A man that, again, there are numerous stories about this. With one last story, I go with the hadith, inshallah, that we learn from the teaching of Imam Musa Kazim as well. We have that one of the offspring of the second caliph, one of the offspring of second caliph was living in Medina. And he was a man who had hatred toward Imam Musa Kazim. He used to come to the masjid and curse Imam and disrespect and use very abusive language. And companions of Imam Musa Kazim, they tried to teach him a lesson, but Imam told them, leave him alone. Let him say whatever he wants to say. We see similar theme in Imam Hassan alayhi salam, very similar. We see a similar story with Imam Ali ibn Hussein, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, because when it comes to Ahlul Bayt, in Ziyarat Jami Kabira we said, عادتكم الإحسان وسجيتكم الكرم. Your habits is generosity. That you're used to it. It's not something that you do it sometimes. It's your habit. وَسَجِيَّتُكُمُ الْكَرَمِ. Your manners and your lifestyle is to be a man of giving. That's your character. There's something inseparable from you. So we saw Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam how to treat this man. Let him say whatever he wants. One day Imam alayhi salam is a farmer. Go to this man, and when he's working on his farm, and he saw again he's very upset and he's complaining about the life and all that. The moment he saw Musa Kazim alayhi salam, he wanted to start abusing Imam alayhi salam and using the same language. But Imam alayhi salam started with a question. He said, I heard you have struggle with this farm. How much money you make when you plan and when you get the result and the time? How much you make? And he gave a rough estimate that, for example, I make 200 dinar after I'm done with the farming. And Imam alayhi salam give him a pocket of money, which again when he opens is 300 dinar, which again, by the way, in Arab language at the time became famous, that Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, that pocket of money, if anyone who received that pocket of money would never become poor and suffer poverty again because of his hand of mercy. So he gave the money, and the man is in shock that in return of all my abusive language, in return of all the bad behavior that I did to him, he's the one who's helping me in return. He's a man, he's living Quran, by the way. That this is one of the reasons we see conflicts arising a lot among families, among friends, different among spouses. One of the reasons is because there is no tolerance. Tolerance and patience is something that is hard to find. Why? Because the ego became, unfortunately, with the passage of time, our egos and our narcissism became bigger and bigger. It's harder to forgive, it's harder to be patient and to tolerate others when you have a big ego. When we are the center of the universe, then the way we look at it, it's hard to have that tolerance. I've known people who did not talk to their own brother for 2 years. You see them come to the masjid and they sit in two very opposite corners of the masjid. And I ask, what's the reason? True story, by the way. Said, my brother, his son got married. They did not send an invitation until 2 days was left to the invitation. They sent an invitation to that person and that person and that person, which they were very far relatives. But I was the brother and they did not send me the invitation, and till it was 2 days left to the day of wedding. Said, okay, did they apologize? Did they say why? I said, oh, they forgot it, but I know they're lying. So okay, let's assume they were telling the truth or they're lying. What's the point? So they forgot to invite you, but again, the last you had 2 days to prepare yourself for the wedding. No, that's about respect. 2 years not talking over a small mistake. I don't know even if I call it a mistake. Very small reason. I use tradition, I use Quran, I use anything I learn to convince them, okay, please forgive them. You know, life is too short, it doesn't worth it. Till this day, I did not hear if they were able to go back together. The small reason, low tolerance. Same thing with marriage. I have had probably dozens of couple counseling in the last 2 months. Dozens. Most of the time is over small mistakes. And because the way the day they get married, the expectation is that they're marrying an angel. You know, someone who is not capable of making a mistake. So when something happens, you say, okay, now forgive. No, you know, the image was ruined. You know, there's no point. I said, what happened? Small mistake. Because now when you start living together, that you see sometimes there are moments of, you know, outbursts of a little bit of anger, or you say something you don't mean it. Families come to the picture. Why you said this about my mom? Why you said that about my dad? These things comes. If there is no patience, if there is no tolerance, no marriage would work. I promise you. No marriage. But the egos became bigger. This I is so important, you know. My respect, my right, my share. It is all about mine. And when you see Musa Jafar alayhi salam, the biggest lesson out there, if there is someone worthy of calling himself an I, that his existence is so crucial to other human beings, is the Imam. Imam, Allah said, لَوْلَا الْحُجَّةِ لَسَاخَطِ الْأَرْضُ بِأَهْلِهَا. If Allah's proof, which is Imam, and before the Imam is a messenger of God, the prophets. If a hujjah, if a proof of God is not on earth even for a second, لَوْلَا الْحُجَّةِ لَسَاخَطِ الْأَرْضُ بِأَهْلِهَا. The earth will swallow its people. Means the stability of earth, one of the reasons is because of the Imam. But you see how selfless he is when he's dealing with an ignorant human being and teaching him a lesson to guide him. And this is a lesson for us. First, find the guidance ourselves. Be in the straight path. Second, when you find that path, share that path with others, and you must have patience. Look at our prophets, the way he was dealing with the ignorant people of his time. The one who they were used to tell children to go and throw rocks and stones at the Holy Prophet. People like Musa Jafar and Imam Kazim alayhi salam and Imam Sajjad alayhi salam who were abused differently. And the same people who were abused, some of them became the closest companions of the Imam. That's a quality. If someone is good and you provide a good environment for them, that's not a great accomplishment. That's good. That's a relatively acceptable accomplishment, that you keep the good. That's important, by the way. You cannot say, oh, good, let them be alone. No. If you let the good people, the guided people alone, misguidance is all the time, you know, it's a threat. So you have to keep the good. You have to provide an environment that they can practice righteousness. But the greatest accomplishment is to bring the misguided one. If you change someone's life's path, when you saw Imam Hussein alayhi salam, that one of the value and the passion in the path of Imam Hussein is that people like Zuhair ibn Ghayn, a man which prior to Karbala was Uthmani madhab, means he believed in the first three Khalifa and he believed in Imam Ali as the fourth Caliph. Zuhair ibn Ghayn, by the way, is one of the Shuhada, one of the martyrs in the day of Ashura, one of the companions of Imam Hussein. This is before the Ashura. He's a man who fought in the battle of Safain against Imam Ali alayhi salam. Zuhair ibn Ghayn, companion of Imam Musa alayhi salam, is a man who fought against Imam Ali alayhi salam. For whatever reason, he did not find the truth at that moment. But when it came, they were approaching the land of Karbala, Imam Musa alayhi salam sent an invitation. His wife encouraged him, Daylan, and encouraged him to go and listen to him. I know you would probably not listen, but go. The grandson of the Prophet, the son of Fatima Zahra called you. It's disrespectful. Go and answer the call. He went and he changed. He was a different person. He came, he moved next to the tents of Imam Musa salam and became one of the first people who went to the battle on the day of Ashura. That the bad not necessarily would stay bad forever. Not true. And this is the school of Ahlul Bayt, to do not give up on people. If they went astray, if they lost the path, the teaching of Ahlul Bayt is to do not give up on them easily. And if you're guided, don't be so sure about that. The night of Ashura, same people who were with Imam Hussein until the night of Ashura. Some of them were very close to Imam Hussein. They were one of those who left Imam Hussein at the night of Ashura. They were there all the journey, all the way from Medina and from Mecca. But when it came to the moment of test, they left. So let me finish with a tradition, a teaching of Imam Musa alayhi salam. So if I summarize what I said till this moment, what we learn from Musa Jafar is character. The way he is Bab al-Hawa'ij, a door toward Allah for people's need. A door of request. That when people came to him, he never led people to return with hopelessness. Financially he supported them. Spiritually he helped them. Even with the power of thinking, that we have a moment that some people were misguided and they had questioned, and Imam alayhi salam guided them with the word of wisdom. So he is Bab al-Hawaj in different ways. For a lesson for us, follow that tradition. And I said that sometimes our imagination about Ahlul Bayt is that there is a battlefield and they're the one who are fighting in this battle and we're the only audience and we're watching this. We think we have to buy a ticket, we build the masjid, we build the Husayniyah, whatever we built, and then we go and we just listen. We're just audience and that's it. It's a wrong mentality. The reality is that Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are in this battle which we call dunya. The battle with the nafs, the battle with the shaitan, the battles that are every day is an obstacle, is a path that we have. They are the commanders. Amir al-Mu'mineen. When he's the commander of the faithfuls, means we are inshallah mu'mineen. He is the Amir of mu'mineen. But if his Amir is a commander with no soldier, how we can call him Amir al-Mu'mineen? So we should look at it this way, that we are in this battle with them. They're the leaders, we look up to them. He's the commander. We look up to them, he is the Bab al-Hawaj. We cannot become Bab al-Hawaj, but we could become a place that people can count on us for help and support. Because he's the leader we look up to. And when somebody has a problem, the first name comes to mind is our name. Why not? Prophet said, who is, which someone would call the most prosperous human being, the happiest human being, the most blessed human being. Prophet said, the most blessed human being is the one that people call him or her for help. Sometimes we get annoyed, when they have a problem in masjid, they call me. When they have a problem over there, sometimes I heard people say, people think, I'm going to give them free rides. They take advantage of me because they know I will help them. According to Prophet, we're blessed if someone considers us as a source of help. And when they have a problem, they consider us for support. So that's one that we learn from the Ahlul Bayt. We look at them as a leader, as an imam, which literally imams means the one who's in the front, right? Imam al-Jama'ah, imam is the one who's in front. He's in front of us, he goes the path we follow. So let me inshallah finish with the hadith that Imam alayhi salam tell us how to follow. Imam alayhi salam, again hadith is from Musa ibn Jafar salawatullah wa salamu alayhi. Imam says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed all knowledge in 4 words. And if someone knows and learn these 4 words, he or she will be an alim. Alim means knowledgeable. The alim in Quran, when you say knowledgeable, we're not talking about scientists. We're not talking about the one who have this. Again, we're blessed to be called alim, but not necessarily this. Alim, knowledgeable, according to Imam Kazim alayhi salam, is the one who knows these 4 words. And again, if someone, according to our Imam, an infallible word, if someone knows these 4 things, you could call him alim. And you will be an alim, even if they're illiterate. So sometimes we think if someone cannot read or write, if someone doesn't have a fancy degree, if they don't have a PhD or bachelor or master, they're not worthy of being, listened to. They're not worthy of our attention because they're not alim. That's again the very modern metaphor for alim. Alim, according to our understanding, has these 4 things. But scientist is a different category. Engineer is a different category. Alim is a very broad spectrum that we can learn many from this understanding of ilm and knowledge. Because science, it's a good thing, but many scientists are not very pleasant people, unfortunately. They're not very good role models. They're great in discoveries of their own field, but when you look at their lifetime, they were not very loyal to their families. They were not such, great children for their parents. Again, they were great scientists. Nobody can question that. Good for them in that field. But when it comes to other area of their life, they failed, unfortunately. So when it comes to alim, is alim who doesn't fail. So what are the 4 questions? What are the 4 points that Imam Kazim alayhi salam said you have to know? Number 1, أن تعرف ربك. The first one that you have to know, and if you know this, you become an alim, is to know your Lord. To recognize your Creator. It's one of those questions that, again, humanity struggles for thousands of years. From Greeks to Romans to Muslims, we see they're arguing about this question. What is God? Who is God? And why we have to believe in God? My lecture is not about that, but the point of this lecture, inshallah, is inspire you to answer that question for yourself. And ta'arif rabbak. Who is your God? Who is your Lord? Is it your God and your Lord science? Is it your Lord and God money? Is your Lord and God fame? There could be your God. God is that what you want. God is what you want to reach. That's what we call God. Qurbatan ila Allah, that we pray to become closer to Allah. So some people, they do everything to become closer to their favorite house, to their favorite car. That's their ultimate goal. It's not it's not a mean, it's the purpose. For some people it's fame. For some people, again, could be different things. What is and who is your God? And we have to take our own journey. People find that answer differently. Some people have to read books. Some people have to think and reflect. Some people could easily understand it from the order of universe. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam give different answers to different people. And Imam said, كَلِّمِ النَّاسَ عَلَىٰ قَدْرِ عُقُولِهِمْ. When people ask you a question, your answer should be appropriate based on their understanding. If a child asks you a question about God, the way you answer should be different from if a teenager or if a college student asks that question. Talk based on the level of their understanding. Do not confuse our kids. Do not confuse someone who doesn't have that understanding. Ourselves, we know how we should find that path. The moment you feel satisfied that you know why you believe in God, that's the moment, again, it's a journey that you have to take. And ta'arif rabbak, that's the first one. Know your Creator. Number 2, and ta'arif ma sana'a bik. The second part of the knowledge, according to Imam Kazim alayhi salam, is to know from what you're being made. Who you are. Ma sana'a bik means who you are. Recognize yourself. The word that Imam Ali alayhi salam said, Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbah. The one who truly recognized and was able to know himself, he will definitely know his creator. That cause and effect process that we said, from the effect you can find the cause. So if you truly know who you are, all this sophisticated system that Allah designed, you can think about it. Who designed it? Is it coincidence? Is it a reason? Am I that powerful that I'm thinking I am? خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. That's the second step. Recognizing ourselves. Specifically our flaws, by the way. I love when it comes to specifically those who are agnostics or atheists, they focus about that human's ability to know things, to discover things. They say, we know atoms exist, we know this exists, we know about protons, we know about all that. How there is a God that we didn't discover? There's no evidence. So they count on the ability that there are certain things that we know, so we eventually must have known about it if there is a God out there. But if we look at about the flaws that we have, then we will not be that confident anymore. That's this human being that you're so confident about him that he knows pretty much everything. We're not able to cure cancer. We're not able to reach at this moment. There is no human being on Mars, and Mars is one of the closest planets to Earth. We know they exist, but all this ability you talk, we were not able to place a human being there yet, and it takes years and years of planning to do that. And that Mars is one of the billions and billions of stars, and only Milky Way. Forget about other galaxies. So when you look at the flaws that we have, that every question we answer, there are 10 unanswered questions being out there that we do not know. With finding one answer, we have more questions, which is good. We have to know that we have the ability, but do not give ourselves too much credit. That we don't know that much that we think we know. So recognize specifically our flaws. We know our pros and our cons as well. The third one, أن تعرف ما أراد منك. The third knowledge you must acquire is to know what is your responsibility. What Allah wants from you. Then again, if you answer the first question about God, the second question about yourself, now you figure out your connection between yourself and your Creator. The first two questions. Now the third question is, okay, what do you have to do? Now you believe in God. Now believe that you're the creation of God. What should you do? What is your responsibility? And that's the part that Quran comes to the equation. That the best answer is Quran. What you have to do, what we have to do is Quran. The teacher of Quran, Ahlul Bayt. They tell us exactly how to do things. If you look at walking, Allah said how to walk. وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Don't walk on earth with arrogance. When it comes to talking, say قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. When you talk to people, be lenient, be respectful. When it comes to eating, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. Eat and drink, but don't waste it. Don't overuse it. So moderation. When it comes to our relationship with people, وَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ. Reform between people, reconnect broken relationships. When it comes to our prayers, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Be sincere, be humble in your prayers. So what is our responsibility? It's very clear in Quran. That we live with Quran. And Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they were examples of that. That everything you see about them is Quran. That if it's about our personal matters, if it's about our political matters, if it's about our social matters, all of them is the solution in Quran for us. To live based on that. That's the third question, which is important. What is our responsibility? And number 4, the last one. أن تعرف ما يخرجك من دينك. The fourth thing you must know to become an alim, to become knowledgeable, is to recognize what is enemy of your religion and your faith. To recognize what it is or what are the causes that could astray you from the right path. Did you say, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم? 4 questions. You answer, according to Imam Kazim alayhi salam, you're an alim. You're a knowledgeable human being. even if you're illiterate. If you have a PhD but you don't have answer for these 4 questions, you're not an alim. You're a scientist, you're whatever, but you're not an alim. Your creator, God, yourself, responsibilities, and your enemies. What is your enemy? The enemy of your faith, the enemy of being good. These are the questions you have to answer. Inshallah, it's enough for tonight. In the night of the Shahadat, Musa Ja'far alayhi salam, inshallah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the greatness of Bab al-Hawa'ij, Musa Ja'far, to help all of us to practice what we preach, to follow what we know, and to be able to become the true follower of the religion of Islam, the true follower of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman, and inshallah to become one of the visitors who visit the shrine and the burial of Musa Ja'far alayhi salam Kazim with ma'rifah, inshallah. Let's say as-salam to Musa Ja'far, and remember all those who requested dua, specifically those who are in need, such as Maridan, and those who requested extreme amount of dua for those who wasn't answered by the doctors or who are in extreme health condition. May Allah inshallah honor them with quick shafa inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ya Abul Hasan ya Musa ibn Ja'far أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا اللهم إنا نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم بكتابك المستحكم وبنبيك المكرم وبأهل بيت المعصومين سيما مولانا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم استجب دعواتنا يا الله 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 يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج اللهم ادخل على أهل القبور السرور اللهم اغن كل فقير اللهم اشبع كل جائع اللهم اكس كل عريان اللهم اقض دين كل مدين اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب اللهم رد كل غريب اللهم فك كل أسير اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين اللهم اشف كل مريض اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك اللهم اقض عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. For the sake of the soul of Marhuma Sayyid Abul Hassan Abidi, son of Sayyid Amir Hassan Abidi, رحم الله لمن يقرأ الفاتحة مع الإخلاص والصلوات.
يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين